Letter is to CNN and Senator John Fetterman, President Joe Biden, and everybody else that's been going through what they've been going through over their lifetimes. Period. I'm John Weaver of Roseman, California. I'm the Diary of the Griever named John Weaver on YouTube. I talk about things like grief, depression, anxiety, PTSD, everything I've been going through all my lifetime. This is my channel. I talk about things that happen in my life, things I've seen my family go through. I had seen it, experiencing it, surviving it. It's never easy. Previous video and subsequent videos on my channel talk about it. I'm no guru. I'm no expert except in my own life. I've got no letter of academia behind me. No doctorates or anything else. No private practice or anything else like that. All I know is what I'm going through and what I keep learning about this damn thing all along. Press sometimes get us screwed up, especially in inside politics today. This is dated February 17th, 2023, and the time index in the West Coast is 10:21 in the morning. Pacific Standard Time. It's Friday. So while I was watching Inside Politics today on CNN, and I was listening about how John Fetterman was trying to survive his own depression, it was giving me memories and giving me pause, and it was hitting the anger button left and right on this. And it made me realize that the people that were being mentioned in the conversation, which in my previous video was talking more in depth on this, but these people really don't have a handle on the damn stuff, despite the fact they have a medical editor that probably is knowledgeable, but not that torn apart. And I say this because unless you've gone through so many people and gone through death yourself, you really don't understand the depth of this damn thing. Grieving, mourning, PTSD, how it affects you spiritually and mentally. We all take the pills. We all take the medications that are necessary to calm our synaptic nerves and the synapses in our brain, the neurochemistry that we have. And we dilute it. That doesn't change the heart, because the heart still remembers, so it's the subconscious. That's what keeps haunting us the most. That's what I know it keeps haunting me the most. This is subconscious. And yes, I am undergoing therapy myself. It took me a hell of a long while. If you guys actually did discover about the videos I've got, I've also talked about my own medical history, about how much I distrust the medical establishment throughout my life. I understand about how depression kicks a person's ass, and this is not suitable for publication out there, but this is for your own private understanding here. Now, when you're undergoing stroke, yeah, depression affects everybody. It affects the person who had the stroke and affects everybody else around it. Not to mention the PTSD that affects people. I tried to talk about this in my last video. Concerning about President Joe Biden and his loss, believe me, Mr. President, I grieve more deeply on these things. I mourn with you. I know you deal with this on a deeper level. There are a lot of things I could talk about, but I know between us grievers, I know. Too much so, sir. It's not that easy talking about grief. I've heard too much academia and people out there trying to make a name for themselves on social media and other media outposts. I've been doing mine because I wanted to get a check valve going on myself. So much pressure, so much pain, so much grief. I had to put a check valve. So I posted videos. I talked about it a great deal, and I still am. Because I need to do this. I got a 10-year anniversary coming up on the 19th of my mother. I got a 5-year coming up on September the 8th of my big brother. The two images that you see behind me on my left shoulder here, the picture, my mother and my big brother. And that's Mama in her last Christmas. The dog still survives. In fact, she's resting on the couch right now. And don't be surprised if you happen to see any of these things happen to moving around, or possibly moving around. I'm still dealing with a bug war, my own damn reality. Yeah, I got Orkin coming in every so often trying to get rid of these bastards. And I talk about this a lot. I talk about a lot of things in my own videos about how I'm dealing and surviving grief, PTSD, depression, how my family history back then affects me today, that will be affecting me tomorrow. This hasn't been the easiest thing for me to talk about these days because it hurts like hell. Who likes to put out their private information like this? Well, private information, I would think of it's the numbers and zeros and ones on the cards and telling people what your accounts are. That stuff doesn't go out there. But I'm talking about the heart and soul and any personal experiences that affects us, that changes us a great deal. Doesn't matter how much chemicals we can put into ourselves to try to make us balanced. It doesn't change the fact we're still damaged goods, so we still have to recognize it, understand it, more than acknowledge it, and just move on. We still have to put on the mental moleskin if we can actually find some more, and just push on. But I understand about what it is to be depressed, even when people are suffering through long-term illnesses and you're part of a caregiving team. Now I'm a caretaker. The ashes of my family reside in the cabinet here. Not that easy to live in a mausoleum. The only jam joke I'll smile at anyway. It's never easy dealing with this. And yes, I deal with therapy these days. The closer it gets to anniversary dates, the more I utilize the therapy because I need it. And I talk more about it because it's the only way for me to survive it. And social media does help to a point. I also discovered how much of an addiction it is. Being a recovered alcoholic in nature. Living with the damn disease all his life. It's never fun. And it's never easy dealing with a family who still suffers through that. So I can tell you, dealing with mental health, we're all dealing with it in our own ways. Some of it just hasn't manifested itself in a major situation like ours is. My prayers and my thoughts go with Senator Fetterman on this one because I know what it's like to take care of a person with stroke and depression, clinical PTSD. My family. Unfortunately, I'm going to be diagnosed as such as well. Not exactly genetics, but it does become part of the genetics and part of the subconscious, and it's part of our nature now. I just wanted to try to set things straight, as sometimes, even when you're talking to experts who talk to other experts, they really don't understand personally unless they actually talk to someone. And then they hear it. Not just the story, they hear it. See, when you're going through what I go through, I hear it. I know it. One little caveat on this thing. You guys seriously don't know what it is to have near death or actually a death experience. I do. Tried to explain in many of my videos at this point over here. Age of 4 years old, 1970, open heart surgery, Cedars of Lebanon. Died on the table 3 times trying to replace or repair mitral valves that were leaking. 3 times up and 3 times back. They had to sew up one, put a patch on the other, and left the other valve alone. I kept dying on them too many damn times and kept getting kicked out of heaven too many times because it wasn't my time to live. My brother wrote a letter to the doctor, who kept the letter and right after surgery gave it to my mother after I lived, apparently. My brother and I saw it right after Mama's death. I guess that was the only major thing we could really cry on, besides losing Mama. I lost my mother ultimately on February 19th, 2013, period. She almost could have died on February 1st, but she didn't. Fire department out here in Los Angeles are very good at keeping a person alive when they can. And they fought like hell before I stabilized her enough to put her to the hospital. And in 19 days, my brother and I were seeing a slow decline. She was already declining a long time ago. But the 19th was really the day we lost her. September 8th is when I lost my big brother, 2018. He was telling me he couldn't breathe. He had already been suffering through complications of several transischemic attacks. So communications and ability to walk or function wasn't exactly all that much. But he struggled to the door, woke me up, and my hand was already on the phone dialing 911. The next major thing was coming through the damn emergency room doors and seeing my brother being a meat slab. It changes a person entirely. It changes a person entirely. These days, since my brother's death, last 2 or 3 years, I had to do these videos. I had to talk about it. I'm looking at another computer screen of an image my brother and my mother shared a birthday at Disneyland a long time ago. My brother was suffering and was recovering from knee surgery. My mother still not able to walk around as much, so she used her own scooter. My brother is on a scooter from Disneyland. And it was the day we were enjoying with Mama. Must have been, it was well over 2 decades ago. I'm sorry if I'm not exactly being the most helpful right now. It's just, damn emotional triggers. Sorry, guys. Emotional tsunami time. Thank you for your kind. Thank you for your time, guys. Prayers and thoughts.